Have you ever taken a look over at a field and have wondered to yourself, I wonder what that would be like if it was no longer farmed? Well, this is a video done thereabouts 18 to 19 years since this field was last farmed. And what I'm going to show you here is, well, this is a trail, so obviously there wouldn't be a mowed trail. But you can see that after just 18 years, how much growth there is on this field. This used to be a cornfield in rural Ohio, in the northwestern side of the state. And as we come out here, you can see it. I believe they planted corn, soybeans. Now, there are still mowed paths on this field, as you can see, but you can take a look at natural sort of paths that animals make. The video doesn't do it justice. So as you can see, to figure out, well, they've been mowing this for 18 years, and this has been let go. So you can automatically tell the difference. But what I'd like to show you here today is that the return of a lot of native species that are not commonly found in the vast quantities that they used to be found before the advent of farming and industry in this part of the country. But this one here is a New England aster, and this is some kind of goldenrod, and this just occurs all across Ohio, as well as there are milkweeds. Here's another aster down here, smaller. But we also have invasive species, and I'm not sure if this is invasive or not. I think this is some sort of dogwood bush or something. But here you see a lot of the purple native asters, and they have a very good look to them. And we are in late September, and things are still green, but they've just started to turn. So we are entering into fall. Now, some of these trees were planted as saplings, so the difference in years may be a little bit more than what you might expect. Maybe these trees would be just a slight amount of smaller, or there wouldn't be as many oaks as there are planted out here. But there still are a lot of native trees, including the ash, which this one probably has the ash borer, which I can show my lovely audience the damage that the ash borer has done. But here we have a milkweed, and this is a common milkweed. Not the favorite of the monarch butterflies, but they will eat them if the others aren't available. There's a Sullivan milkweed and a swamp milkweed. You can see there's all kind of bug. These are wasps. Yeah, there's a damaged ash. You can tell by the bottom is grown up as new sprouts, and the top part of the tree has died. But there are a lot of some of these trees. Now, some of the taller trees, which I'll show you back here, those are cottonwoods, and they grow really fast, but then they also they also get this rot in the center of them, and then they will collapse. So they'll get into a great big tree, and then they'll just collapse in on itself. You can contrast where the borders of the field used to be. And you can see the top of the trees there. That was not farmed. That was a border. And then down here with the new growth. So the old growth, who knows, 100, 150, younger, older, I can't be sure. But where you see the smaller trees is where, and you can see this is only 18, 19 years. But this used to all be farm. And now there's a lot of native species have come back to grow here. There's a lot of black-eyed Susans that aren't so prevalent now. And there's our cottonwood trees up there that have already grown as high as a 2 or 3 story building at this point. But there's been no more GMOs, there's been no pesticides, fungicides, any kind of man alteration here. This is just let go. And it is now gone from a field to a forest. And occasionally, like I said, this is mowed here, so that would be the only, like, unnatural thing. The only thing is with a new field, you will get a lot of plants that might not be so native. I've seen a lot of honeysuckle back here, and a lot of, not a whole lot, but some multiflora rose, and those are both non-native to North America. But it's just really nice to see, and you can tell here where the border was between the forest and the field. But it's really nice to see that something like this going back to nature. There's just so much that a forest does, ecologically speaking, not only in the soil, when you don't farm it, when it's not being mass farmed by various corporations, the soil, the organisms form an ecosystem, and that ecosystem is destroyed in mass farming. But and they have to spray it with fertilizers and chemicals, and it just really makes the soil sterile. Whereas here, the soil is being restored, it's letting go fallow. That was the importance in ancient civilizations, to let things go fallow once every 7 years, or in other civilizations, it was just a matter of whenever, and that was to help restore the soil. Nature needs a break, and this is just really amazing to see this. A lot of, it gives an opportunity to plant a lot of plants that can't grow anywhere else. They can't grow in the field because they'll be sprayed. They can't go in the lawn because it's mowed, or the ditch because that's mowed. So they can really branch out in a place like this. Here's what I was talking about. This is the invasive honeysuckle here. Forms bright berries. You can't really eat these. But there's this whole area, and it's actually thinned out quite a bit. Like normally this is a lot more shaded. Here's a tree, and I forget the name of it again, but it's a tree more commonly found in the southern U.S. states. And it produces a long stalk and a small flower, a white flower. As of course, plenty of black walnuts. There's so many black walnuts in a forest that you literally, like, they provide almost everything you need in a diet. And there's so many of them that you could literally live off them, but no one has any idea that they exist. They just think, oh, forest, trees, things. Not many people know what they can eat and what they can't. But most types of flowers and roots and tubers and things like that have some kind of medicinal value that you wouldn't know about. Here's an example, again, of the ash. You can't really see it in here, but the ash borer, it makes these little swirly lines here, and that's where the larvae was eating at the tree. Yeah, wouldn't you want to live there? Fix that up and just live out here? No car sounds. No symphony of lawn mowers. Except when they mow this, of course. But you can see, just let the picture adjust. A lot of yellow and purple. That's a pretty cool color combination right there. Yellow and purple. Now, what's interesting is they didn't, I don't think, plant trees over here right away. And these are planted later. It seems like the black walnuts lose their leaves a lot earlier in the year than other trees, which are still green, in fact, as you can see. And this, I'm not sure what tree this is. That might even be a bush. Bushes can grow to be large trees if they just let go enough. See, there's a lot of butterflies. I mean, this is just like nectar heaven. They've got bees over there. So if humans, I guess you could say if humans disappeared or stopped farming, it would not take long at all, as you see, for nature to just start reclaiming. I mean, this soil, there's nothing left in the soil. You know, it had been farmed for how many years and sprayed, but the plants came back and have restored it. It does a lot for the environment. Takes in outside toxicity or toxins in the air, pollution, and it absorbs it and cleans it so that we can use